Okay, welcome to another episode of my podcast on the future of business and technology. I'm Bernard Ma. My guest today is Micha Kaufman, who is co-founder and CEO of Fiverr, the freelance platform that has reshaped how millions of people work. Micha is known for his blunt honesty, but about the future of jobs and in the age of AI. He recently warned his own employees AI is coming for your jobs, even mine. In this conversation, we'll explore what that means for workers, leaders, and the future of human potential in an AI driven work. Welcome, Micha.
Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you with us. Maybe we can start by you giving us a little bit of your background, your journey, and why you founded Fiverr.
Um, I've been building companies for the past 25 years. Fiverr is my fourth company. I've actually started my career as a lawyer, practiced law for quite a few years, specializing in intellectual property, mostly patents, technology transactions, and made my way across the fence to actually building things. Fiverr started as an idea about 16 years ago. Um, and to maybe make it very simple, it started out of my frustration, um, working with talent. Some of it is full-time employees, some of them as contingent work or freelancers. And well, I enjoyed the outcome or the benefits of working with uh, flexible team. I found it very frustrating to actually find and hire that talent. And Fiverr was in many ways my way of solving this problem. And 15 years ago, when it went live, or more than 15 years ago, um, the concept for how I built the company was very unique in the sense that it made the experience of finding talent and engaging with it as simple as shopping on Amazon. Right? It's this idea that you can package everything into a very well structured marketplace with different SKUs, in that case talent, and finding the right talent for the right task super fast, and having this idea of like a one click experience to actually engage and start working on a project. And ever since then it's been growing and expanding, and the company went public about 6, almost 7 years ago. It's been a fun journey.
Yeah, definitely. And congratulations for such a successful journey. How is AI reshaping your business model and the way freelancers deliver work?
There's many ways of thinking about AI as a transformative force in our lives in general, and definitely in our professional lives. Um, in given its pace, I mean, AI has been around for tens of years, but in its early incarnations, and maybe 10 years ago it was called, you know uh, big data and machine learning. And so we've been using AI extensively for many years. But the introduction of ChatGPT in, what was it, November 2022, and the way it was introduced really started this curve of accelerated development around AI. and and I think that we're still kind of in the eye of the storm, where this is kind of an intermediate phase where it's very hard to extrapolate the impact of AI on the future. And I think that there's there's I don't remember who said that, but I found this to be an i- incredibly smart analogy. And the analogy was that what's happening with AI right now is in many ways similar to what happened in 1769 with the steam engine, and the fact that there was this compact version of the steam engine. And so the first application of it was to put it on a horse carriage. So essentially you take a horse carriage, you remove the horses, and you put the steam engine, which made a lot of sense, but it's not the car. The car came later. And what we're doing right now with AI is very much like putting a steam engine on a carriage, because there's the existing platforms, and on top of that we build AI, and AI influences the way we produce stuff, we build things, we whatever, but it has its own limitations. And as we explore it and as we work with it, it's also changing us, but it's changing also our standards. It's changing our expectations. And so what I think it's, AI, no one can take from how amazing it is a tool. And it is as strong as the person using that tool. Um, and I think that we're starting to realize the upside of AI, but also the shortcomings. And so, what I think is happening with AI right now, and I'm getting back to your question, um, is that it is mostly replacing the things we used to do as human beings, acting as robots. So, essentially, the repetitive tasks that we used to do, like doing research. What is research? You go to Google, you look for stuff, you get blue links, you click on some, you read documents, you analyze them, you copy paste out of them into a document, you summarize, and then you turn it into a presentation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But essentially, you're not bringing a lot of your humanity into it. It's just a little bit of judgment and whatever. And I think that what's happening right now, this is streamlined and it's happening really fast and really effortless, which is awesome. Which means that it removes a lot of the tedious things that people hated anyway. um and if I take it to jobs, to work, to projects, what this is mostly replacing is the more simplistic things. They're maybe time consuming, but they're still simple. And so I think that there's a whole cohort of different, I wouldn't even, I don't know if it's even a skill. It's just labor with low skill that is being replaced. It's getting out of the system. And essentially, the floor is elevated. And so the simple no longer exists. What was considered to be hard is the new simple. What was considered to be almost impossible is the new hard. But it's just shifting the paradigm. And I think a lot of the misconception around AI is this illusion that it gives us superpowers. And you might claim that it does. And even if it's true, it's giving superpowers for everyone, which means that it doesn't give superpowers to anyone, right? Everybody writes better. Everybody can, you know, make their bullshit Gen AI images, whatever. That's easy. But that doesn't make you unique. That doesn't give you a competitive edge, right? And and so I think that this is just in my mind at least. And I know that there's a lot of theories about it's going to replace all jobs and there's going to be universal, basic income, and it's going to be. I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true because the more you give to people, the more people want more. So I see AI it's almost impossible to keep up with people's desires and expectations, because the more you do for them, they want the next thing, because what they have is not enough, because everybody has it. So it's like, and then, so as long as people are in the center, meaning we're the consumers, content is being produced for us, applications are being developed for us, as long as we're in the loop, then it needs to eventually please us. It needs to be, and in order for that to happen, you need the human in the loop to give the feedback. I like this, I hate this, this works, this doesn't. And in as long as people are competitive, and we are competitive creatures, right? By definition, you would prefer to fly business rather than coach, right? What do? You need to make more than other people make so you can afford it. So as long as we're competitive, you always need someone who's exceptional at something to give you that competitive edge. It's either you or someone you can hire. It doesn't matter, full time, part time, whatever. So, so it is transformative. It is changing, but I don't think it's changing the basic function of people wanting to work with other very talented people. And sometimes people say, "Oh my God, have you seen this video on X that was done with VO3? It's incredible. Now you can do everything with VO3." And I say, I dare you to make a video that level on VO3. You know why this was done? Because the guy who was operating VO3 is a fucking genius. They're genius, and they have hundreds or thousands of hours with this AI, and they also have 10 years of experience as creative directors, and they're super creative, and their non-linear thinking is better than yours, and it's like whatever, and their taste is better than yours, and like, so it's not that easy. And since everybody has it, like, what makes you better than me, right? Anyway, so this is changing. I know that some people are concerned about their job. Some people are concerned about Fiverr and saying, "Oh, how AI will influence the company." Blah blah blah. For me, this is work for the past 15 years. I mean, it hasn't been a static 15 years. Different skills comes and go, and like, it's like, to me, that's natural. Yes, it is fast. Yes, it is somewhat confusing. Um, but it also forces us to learn new skills and adapt and understand that if all we can do is put a steam engine on a carriage, that's not enough. It's not enough. And if we're all doing the obvious things with AI, again, there is no advantage. And these were some of the uh, messages that I wrote in my memo to my team, because I think it's a wake up call. Like, we need to figure out, and we need to do it fast. Um. Anyway, that was a long answer.
Yeah, no, and your wake up call was AI is coming for your jobs, even mine. Why did you decide to deliver such a blunt wake up call instead of some reassurance?
Look, first of all, I don't, that's my style. Okay, so I don't believe in sugarcoating stuff, or just like, if you stand in the middle of the road and you see a car coming to run you over, it's probably better to shout or just take someone and throw them out of the way, or take action, than just saying, "You know what, I think, you see the car, maybe this is like, we should maybe consider what to," like, no, no, just do it. um and so I felt that the only authentic way to deliver it was to say what I'm feeling without filters, without trying to be, let's talk about it softly. And those messages are, some people will respond to it, and some won't realize the gravity of it. And so I always, you know believe that you should be should have radical transparency. You should just say things for what they are. And by the way, those who agree with you, fine. Those who are not, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Like I'm very, you know, we were talking about this idea. I was talking about this idea of like this universal, basic income versus yes, there's going to be jobs in the future, blah blah blah. And I'm very confident in my view. And those who are talking about universal business income are very confident, but I don't think any of us are confident that we're right. If you get what I mean. Meaning there is no future. There are multiple futures possible, and one of them is going to be I don't I'm not 100% sure that I know what it is. No one can. I think it's presumptuous to think that we know how the future is going to shape up, but like I'm applying my common sense and best like my knowledge of history and how things happen in the past in previous transformative. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is so people can agree or disagree, and history will judge us anyway. And people can disregard it and the car is going to run over them, or maybe it's not going to be. But I call things for what they are, and I think that this is the best way, at least for leaders, to communicate with their teams.
I couldn't agree more. And you made the point that AI might even come for your job. So,
Yeah.
what parts realistically of a CEO's job could be automated by AI? Or even phrased differently, how are you experimenting with AI to help you and automate parts of your job?
Yeah, a couple of months after I said that, uh, Sim Altman gave an interview and he said the same things. He said, I don't know if it's going to be ChatGPT 7 or 12 or 15, but at some point, that's his take. Um, AI is going to be better than the best CEO of alive today. You know, and maybe he's right and maybe he's wrong, but the point is that in any case, if you're not doing the transformation and you're not ensuring that you stop acting like a human robot, meaning you can replace all the things that are time consuming, that are not necessarily um, uh, manifesting your humanity or your whatever special skill as a CEO, like whatever that is, um, then you're doing it wrong. So, so by definition, you're going to be outdated. And this was my point, meaning I think I have a responsibility of managing my time better, of trying to create my own personal AI that knows me, not generalized AI, but Micha's AI that knows me, my preference, the way I communicate, the way I review things, the way I comment on things, the way um everything I've learned so far, um and try to help me by taking away stuff that I do on repeat. That could be handling communication, emails, Slack, WhatsApps, whatever. That could be reviewing documents. That would be summarizing stuff. That could be taking notes in meetings. That would be taking notes in meetings, turning them into action items, putting on the calendar follow ups for these action items, sending notifications to others saying, "Hey, it's time for an update," collecting that update, summarizing it, blah blah blah. All of this. Now, AI is not good enough right now to work completely unsupervised because it's making a lot of mistakes. I can explain why, but that's going to be a little bit technical. But it's still not 100% and not anywhere close to it. But then you lower your a lot of your doing into supervising, tweaking, you know, um, improving. But that reduces a lot of your time. And my the point I was making to the team is like, in an ideal world, it's impossible, by the way. But in an ideal world, my expectation is that each and every one of you is going to replace 100% of what you do with AI. And so the question from my team was, well, but if I replace 100% of what I do with AI, why do you need me? And I said, now I need you because you have a higher value, because now you have 100% of your time free, which means that you can actually figure out what are you good at that is not automated, that cannot be automated. What makes you special? It's kind of rediscovering your humanity in a way. Is it your capacity to think in a non-obvious way? Is it the fact that you have a very good instinct or judgment call about, if I show you three things, you'll always pick the one thing that our customers is going to respond better to? Amazing. So you have a superpower. Let's just focus on that. And then it allows everybody to strategize more, think about other stuff, rebuild things in a smarter way. Um, so this was my commitment, and the way I've done it myself, and that's my expectation from the organization. And other than just doing it on an individual basis, we as an organization, we want to build tools that would just make the organization as a whole better, and just give everyone access to these tools so you know they can become more efficient.
So, what kind of tools are you using today that you find useful in your own job?
Well, look, internally, we use everything that exists. I mean, we've tested tens of different tools, and a lot of them we've actually developed ourselves. Um, Again, because we think that general as good as generalized AI is, when you start creating individual AI, this is where magic actually start happening, because the level of um, fine tuning and specificity that you get is incredible. So um, as I said, if it's me, it needs to be my AI. It needs to understand who I am, and it needs to have a memory. Like, it needs to learn, because I learn stuff about myself. I learn new things. I want to feed it with, and I want to get it, more efficient, smarter, blah blah blah. But think about that on any function. That could be, I mean, that could be if you're on R&D, if you're developing something, uh, you could use the current tools in a stupid way, right? Unintelligent, and you can just embrace Cursor or Windsurf or whatever it is to code, or you can say Cursor has its own limitations. For example, it's not. I mean, if you ask it to produce new code, um, and if you ask it to produce a very specific code, that's fine. But if it needs to understand the context of your entire coding world, and Fiverr is a monster in sort of like in terms of code base, it starts breaking. It doesn't understand context. It doesn't understand edge cases. It doesn't understand, like, so maybe you should spend more time giving context to Cursor and teaching it that Fiverr is Fiverr. It's not just another, you know, code base. It's a very specific one with a very specific purpose, with very specific cases, and then all of a sudden it starts producing this incredible thing. Same goes with, I don't know, our legal team that needs to review contracts and whatever. There's a way Fiverr approaches contracts. There's things that we always insist on. There's things we don't care about. There's like, if you train it, then it becomes super powerful. So having these personalized AIs is really interesting. And in many cases, look, the current models, whether they're whatever, they're, you know, Claude, or they're ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, are the base layer. Everybody uses them. That's a foundational models. Everything you see is built on one of these. But the upper layers is what makes things, is where things start getting interesting. Um, and the last thing that I would say here is the following: whatever those tools are, and by the way, there's better models for better things. Like Claude is better at writing code, and Perplexity is better at reasoning, and whatever. And ChatGPT is great at speed, and like whatever specific models are great to do product, PRD, whatever. But whatever you use, I think that one of the guiding principles for me is, in a reality where the level of uncertainty is extremely high, and I'm describing the here and now, and when everybody has these, access to tools, it's democratized. One of the key advantages that businesses have is speed. Usually, because I love physics, I don't call it speed, I call it velocity, because the difference between speed and velocity is speed plus direction, and speed is just speed. um, so velocity is an advantage. Why? Because if you can, nobody knows where this is going, and no one actually knows how a carriage will transform into a car. Then you need to experiment a lot. And when you have a lot of hypotheses, and you want to run experiments, if you can do this really fast and with very few bugs, then you have the advantage of having a smaller cost of failure. And so velocity matters tremendously, because if you continue doing stuff at a slow pace, the cost of it is just super high. And so the companies that are going to be able to run as fast as possible are going to be the companies that increases their likelihood to succeed. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it just, so this is important. So everything we do is just we're very much prioritizing velocity that comes with quality. Velocity by itself is not enough if everything you do breaks. Yeah.
So for the people that will thrive in these high velocity environments and that are able to delegate some of the lower level work, as you've outlined, to the AI, what skills will they need? How do you prepare for this world where you can actually leverage higher level human skills and outsource everything else to the AI? So what are the skills and talents that will enable people to thrive in this AI world?
Well, some of them are generational, which has nothing to do with skills. I think young people have an advantage. Gen Zers, I mean, like, and the reason is they're AI natives. Like for them, it's not this. I mean, this is how they've done their homework at like high school or college. Um, so I think they're more fluent and they're more adaptive in many ways. I th- so adaptivity, your ability to be flexible in how you approach things, and your level of curiosity of like saying, okay, great, ChatGPT 5, whatever, 4, it's amazing. How can I break it? How can I do something with it that no one thought of? How can I, if people thought that its limit is here, how can I extend it? How can I, what happens if I connect ChatGPT with another Gen AI product? What do I do if I connect this to, different machines and whatever, and different devices? And so I think curiosity is a huge plus. Adaptivity, being like flexibility is a huge plus. And and I think and I think that it's also, the um being interested to understand things at the detail level, because the one thing that is definitely bad with the current AI is it makes all of us dumber, right? It's just you just type, you get something, you just send it or whatever. You don't check it, you don't validate it, you don't understand why this would like. So people are becoming their laziest version of lazy. Um, and I think that this is a disadvantage. And I think that the people that I've seen do the craziest things with this new technology and these new tools are the people that are actually getting to the why. Like, why does it work the way it does? Um, why does this work better than this? Like, why is one model better at something? What happens if I connect stuff? Like, and so, and it's, I can summarize all of this by just having the passion to learn new things and explore, which, by the way, is it really different than 30 years ago? Like, are, like, yeah, I think that this illusion that it gives us superpowers and makes it better, blah, blah, blah. It's like there's no shortcuts, for crying out loud. There's no shortcuts in life. Like, um it's hard work, and it's like it's creating mastery at something. um these are the people that are, and the super lazy that are too lazy to even automate themselves are could be ejected. And by the way, it's fine. I mean, you can find a new profession. It's not the end of the world. um but if you're those who love what they're doing and find it fulfilling and find purpose in what they're doing are going to be fine. They'll reinvent themselves. I'm not worried.
So, what are you worried about? If you look 10, 15, 20 years into the future, if you look at your freelancer community, if you look at your own company and their employees, or society even wider, what are your concerns
I'm
about
actually,
AI?
yeah, I'm actually more concerned about society and humanity than on just my little ecosystem of millions of talented people and businesses. Um, what worries me about society is, um, well, a couple of things. There's going to be displacement of work, of labor, for sure. I mean, some things are going to be displaced, which again, by the way, not a new thing. I mean, how many of the jobs that existed in my grandfather's generation sustained to my dad and to me? Nothing. Maybe 50%. It's nothing. Like, that's fine. But I think that this is one. It's happening on a more rapid pace, which is why humanity is confused right now, because it's like we're human beings are not programmed to deal with stuff that happens super fast, which is why you have very few Formula One drivers and fighter pilots and whatever. It's like it's hard to deal with speed. And I think that what's happening along those lines is there's going to be classes of work that are just going to be completely displaced. So if you think, I'll maybe mention, like, think about autonomous cars, and but even worse, autonomous trucks. Um, Truck driver, I think, is the number one most popular job in the US. Uh, I I think there's like 3 million truck drivers, and if you add to it like Ubers and blah blah blah, you probably double, triple, whatever. Imagine that this happens. You don't need them anymore. What do you do with them? What do you do with these people? What concerns me is that I don't see the government saying, all right, we need to think about how to work with this cohort to say, let's think about how to figure out your next skill. Okay. What's next for you? You don't want to have millions of people that are unemployed overnight. It's going to be devastating. Um, but this is on that level. On higher levels, I think that um, on the path for super intelligence, like this 200 IQ AI and then 1,000 IQ AI, whatever. In many ways, and I'm not saying if it's, I'm not even stating my opinion, but basically the companies that are building super intelligence are doing the Manhattan Project in private hands. Which is like, and I wonder what's going to happen when they're going to get very close to it. Do you see a government allowing the private sector to have a like the equivalent of the Manhattan Project on private hands? I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be interesting, and I think that as human beings, we're not thinking everything through enough. There's gonna be incredible things that technology will allow us to do, but then there's a lot of risks. And I'm an optimistic guy, and I'm techno optimist, meaning I I believe that technology is mostly accretive and mostly positive, but you can design it to be very positive or very, very bad, right? Um, and I think we're kind of in the excitement of these new toys, we're not dealing enough with implications, the ramifications of it. And as a dad for kids, like, as this worries me a little bit. Um, I don't want to stop technology. I don't want to even slow it down, but I think we're not conscious enough for the possible implications of using it and the next generation of it.
Yeah, I share those concerns very, very much. I have three kids. And some of the points you made are super valid. I think as societies, we're not preparing people for it. We're not honest enough about some of the changes that we can all see coming. Here in the UK, we will launch self-driving cars next year. So this is no longer science fiction. These things are happening.
Yeah.
So looking ahead then, 5 years from now, what do you think the ideal AI enabled professional looks like? Again, either among your freelance community or as someone working for you.
Yeah, I was smiling as you were asking this question, because like every time someone asked me about 5 years from now, I was like, "Are you crazy? Who knows? Seriously, who knows what's going to be in a year? I mean, the world is in a crazy place. I mean, uh, geopolitically, like like economically, and I think a lot of what's happening with AI is a bubble, in the sense that, and I'm probably being soft. 99 out of 100 companies that started around AI are going to be dead in a year. Um, because there is no, there is not enough need for so many companies that are marginally different than each other. And so while now there's an abundance of venture capital jumping in, it's, some of them are going to be overnight success, blah blah blah, whatever. But there are going to be the exceptions. I remember when Zuckerberg launched uh, Facebook, and everybody wanted to be Zuckerberg. But there's one. I mean, there's, who he is because there's one, and Steve Jobs because there's one. There's 5 of these, 10 of these in the world, and everybody wants to be them. But it's not going to happen. Some of it is, I mean, they're brilliant, but some of it is success, timing, whatever. It's you can't replicate this. Um, I think that what's going to happen, at least in the near future, is there's those who are going to have this uh, competitive advantage, meaning their skill allows them to do something better than others or more efficient, doesn't matter, because there's always this arbitrage of time and talent, right? So maybe you can do something that I can. It will take you 5 hours, and for me 5 minutes. Can we do a deal? Like, how, how do you price your 5 hours? Whatever, $3,000 for 5 hours, whatever. Give me 200. I'll do it for you. It's a good deal. And sometimes, I mean, you can or you can't do something, but you can definitely not do it at the level that's going to be better than everybody else. Those are going to have those skills. And I don't care if they use AI. Who cares? It's like asking, oh no, if you use Photoshop to edit photos, I'm not working with you because you're lazy. Do you know how to use Photoshop? Don't tell me how to do my job. It's either it makes sense or it doesn't. And so I think that those are gonna have, build a skill that gives you the competitive edge. This is how the future is gonna look like. And it's gonna transform stuff because people's expectations are larger. So very simplistic stuff, great, just put it on whatever GPT and just do it. Um, but those things are not going to be an issue anymore. Nobody's going to deal with them because and people are going to still deal with the more complex things. And it's going to be a world where everyone has this somewhat illusion that it's easier to build stuff. Ooh, I have Lovable and I have whatever. I can do a website. I can do. So first of all, it's not exactly there because if you're non-technical, you can build pretty simplistic stuff. But if you want to build very complex stuff, it's going to start asking you questions that you don't know how to answer. Database, security, authentication, all of this. And then even if you build something, my little sister builds things. Who's going to know about it? It's like, okay, I launched a website and I have 0 visitors. So it will always push these issues for the next thing. Okay, great. Um, so I like, in many ways, as long as we're agile, we're adaptable, we're focusing on the right skills, the right categories that our customers need. Those skills create an advantage for you. It's a great arbitrage of skill and time. Then this is how I see it happening. And those are, again, freelancers like my team. Those are going to be adaptable and agile. Good for them. Those who are not, whatever. It's find something else. And there's no shame in it. It's not bad. It's just it's a decision that you might do consciously or unconsciously when you don't, you know, go with the flow.
Yeah, no, very good advice. I think if we can get people to stay curious, adaptable, that is a very good starting point. Thank you so much, Micha, for your time today. That was fascinating. Anyone who ever wants to rewatch this conversation, you can simply head to my YouTube channel, or if you want to listen to it, you can go to any podcast platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me, Bernard.
Pleasure.